Any other questions?
Sí, si el gobierno del presidente Trump sigue negándose a llevarse a Kilmar hacia los Estados Unidos, ¿hasta dónde creen ustedes que puede llegar a escalar este problema legal entre el poder judicial y el poder ejecutivo?
Yeah, well, and yeah, what I would say about this is they're appealing this decision. It's going to go back up to the Supreme Court once again, and but part of this is the courts, but part of it is the people, and it's the whole reason we're here. Is the people have to continue to ensure that his story is in the news, that we don't forget about this. Part of what the Trump administration does is they do so much that they try to make sure people forget about them breaking the law, forget about them, that the government here has denied our request to see him because this is not an official trip. Something that both Robert Garcia and I requested from Chairman Kilmar of the committee that we sit on, which is the oversight committee of the federal government. And so again, we're going to continue to do this no matter what. And like I said before, we're not going to be the last members of Congress and senators that are here to make sure that he's released and that our country is following our laws.
Have you had any other contacts with the Salvadoran government?
We have some additional meetings this afternoon, which we're not going to get into at this moment. What I will say is that I think we've been very clear that the United States Supreme Court is demanding that the Trump administration work to bring back Kilmar Ábrego García. We know that our president has a strong relationship with the president of El Salvador and certainly our allies. And we have no doubt that if Donald Trump wants Ábrego García back in the United States, that Ábrego García would right now be back in the United States. This is on Donald Trump. Our president needs to bring and follow the orders of the Supreme Court.
I'll say that is also why we're here and the reason why we think this situation is so urgent, because it isn't just about Kilmar. It is the fact that our government is relentlessly going after any immigrant that's trying to come to the United States or is in the United States without any regard for due process. So while Kilmar's case has been highlighted and we want to see him freed, as my colleague said, we want to see Andre Romero freed. We want to see those Venezuelans. If they have not been convicted of a crime, they should not be in prison here. So this is about all of it. This is about due process for everyone, and it is just completely egregious that the United States government had these legal processes set up, like the CBP1 app. People trusted us. Our allies and folks coming into our country trusted that those systems would work, and we turned our backs on them and instead illegally deported them off to a prison where they have no answers, no access to counsel, no anything. So we want to see due process for all of those folks.
Are you taking any legal further steps in El Salvador?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we have any comment on that.
No, we have no comment on that.
We have no comment on that. We're members of the United States Congress. We're here on behalf of our constituents because if this can happen to Ábrego García, happen to people from Venezuela, happen to so many people, it can also happen to our constituents. And any day now could happen to citizens because the president himself said that in the Oval Office. This is an affront to our laws, and that's why we're here. We're here doing our jobs. We're representing the people that we were elected to represent, and we're not waiting till it gets so bad that there's nothing we can do. There's something we can do right now.
I think it's really important for the people of El Salvador to know that if you look at recent polling in the United States that just happened 2 days ago, a strong majority of Americans believe that we should not be sending migrants without due process to El Salvador or any other foreign jail. Majority of Americans believe that what's happening here in El Salvador, the American people believe what's happening here in El Salvador is wrong and should be stopped. And I think people need to understand and know that. Any final question?
Quisiera hacerle, perdón, pero quisiera hacerle dos cositas. Primero, porque entiendo de que se pidió que viniera una delegación del Congreso y que esta fue rechazada la petición, pero que si esta se hubiera producido, habría venido al menos un congresista del Partido Republicano. Quisiera saber si han tenido acercamiento con congresistas del Partido Republicano que quieran venir al país. Y segundo, entiendo que el caucus hispano del Congreso pidió el acuerdo porque el documento oficial que regula cómo funciona esto no ha sido público y si se ha producido esto que se haya compartido el documento como tal.
So just to be very clear, both Congressman Frost and I requested an official CODEL congressional delegation trip. The only members of Congress that have seen, for example, gone to CCOT, gone to the jail, have been Republicans. There actually have been CODELs that have just been Republican members of Congress only. No Democrat has been allowed to go there. And so we, as Democrats, believe that Democrats should also be allowed to go. So Republicans control the House. They told us that we cannot go on an official trip, but that's not stopping us from going. The Congressional Hispanic Caucus, which you were just asking about, we're both members of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus. We understand that there's still interest, of course, for members to come visit. I think that's all I can comment about that. If you want to add.
I do want to add that what our government is doing, paying for people to be imprisoned in El Salvador, was with the guise of these are criminals. And that has not been proven. You cannot prove criminality beyond a doubt without due process. So we are using taxpayer dollars in the United States to break our constitutional laws and put people in prison on the taxpayers. This is without a doubt illegal, immoral, and we must continue to stand firm up for the rule of law and for the rights of people. And I hope that we are the first of many to come here until this is resolved in our courts.
It's really important. You were asked about the contract. So we members of Congress, we absolutely want that contract between the United States and El Salvador to be made public. So we should understand what funds are being transferred over to support the prisons, and we should make that public. Y nosotros queremos, en español, queremos que el contrato de los Estados Unidos y El Salvador, para ver qué hemos pagado, qué dinero hemos mandado acá para esta situación y para ver al jail y al prison, tenemos que ver, debe ser público. All right, thank you guys. You should, guys.
Es la primera cosa. Segunda cosa, yo pienso que es algo que realmente no han recibido suficiente atención. Y es el hecho que la policía que arrestó al señor Ábrego García, él mismo, un mes después, sería culpable de un acto crimen, de un delito crimen. O sea, no hemos escuchado de ninguna persona de quién era su acusador, pero sí sabemos por hecho que la policía, quien arrestó al señor Ábrego García, fue un criminal. Es un hecho. Y la Casa Blanca está tratando de afectar al caso usando redes sociales y medios. Por eso digo, es súper importante que seguimos nosotros y ustedes mismos como miembros de la prensa diciendo la verdad de este caso. Porque lo que estamos escuchando desde Washington, D.C. y también desde aquí en San Salvador sobre el caso no es la verdad.
¿Ustedes han tenido acceso a los antecedentes penales del señor Ábrego García?
Sí.
Sí. ¿Qué dicen esos antecedentes penales?
No voy a decir comento, pero yo puedo decir que no hay ningún cargo que ha sido llevado a cabo. Nada, nada diciendo que fue. No, fue nada más acusaciones de secreto atrás que un policía que era corrupto. No solamente corrupto, pero criminal. Un criminal compartiendo información confidencial con un prostituta. Un mes después del arresto. Y yo quiero decir que Kilmar era un jornalero buscando trabajo pacíficamente en un Home Depot. Siempre hay gente en las esquinas. A veces hay criminales. Señor Kilmar no era criminal. Él es miembro de un sindicato. No es un miembro de pandilla. Y yo quiero decir otra vez, hay muchas mentiras que muchas personas en los Estados Unidos están diciendo para justificar esta acción que no solamente violó los derechos constitucionales, pero también violó los derechos internacionales y derechos humanos de señor Ábrego García. Este es un caso de importancia no solamente para nuestro pueblo en los Estados Unidos, pero también para el pueblo salvadoreño también. Entonces, en otras palabras, conocemos que la policía quien arrestó a Kilmar era criminal y conocemos que Kilmar es inocente.